When Russell Westbrook first signed with the Nuggets, the thing I was most excited to see was the potential dynamic between him and Nikola Jokic. And through 32 games, I think it's safe to say that it's been an absolute success, as the two look like they've been playing together for their entire careers. One thing I've really liked is the way the Nuggets have implemented Westbrook's skill set into a number of their go-to actions. Of course, Jokic is their primary screener, and with an initiator like Russ, they can set up more of their offense with shooters like Jamal or MPJ curling off of screens. Or they can reverse the roles and have Russ screen for Jokic, as he's still athletic enough to get up and finish plays at the rim. My favorite, though, has been these classic three-man actions. Denver loves to set up in horns, with one of their better playmakers initiating from the pinch post, while a player from the perimeter cuts off a back screen into a wide open paint. And Russ can play any one of the three roles. On that last one, he got up and caught a lob, and this time he's the one initiating as he finds MPJ for easy points. Russ is undoubtedly the best passer Jokic has ever played with, and it's clear as day how much more that's unlocked for the big man. Joker's the type of offensive player who's constantly hunting for little soft spots within the defense through his movement without the ball, which has led to a ton of easy cuts playing off of Russ. Russ isn't afraid to take risks, he has incredible anticipation, and he can thread the needle through even the tightest windows. And that's also been really valuable when it comes to making entry passes. Jokic is great at sealing off low post position, and just having someone to consistently get him the ball can go a long way. Take this play for example. At this moment right here, Jokic has inside position on Dorian Finney-Smith, but Peyton Watson isn't able to get him the ball. So Watson instead moves it back out to Russ up top, who immediately makes that entry pass for him. Jokic post-ups are maybe the best form of half-court offense the NBA has to offer, and not only is Russ good at getting him the ball, he's good at playing off of him after the catch. Because Russ is typically the one making the entry pass, that means he starts a lot of these plays just one pass away. From there, he's great at taking advantage of open space as a cutter. Here's a good example. Russ isn't much of a threat to spot up and shoot, so his defender feels comfortable leaving him to offer more help in the post. But Russ responds by diving down the middle of the lane and gets some easy points. For all of the post-ups and different actions though, when these two share the floor together, more times than not they're gonna be running pick and roll. Jokic is used to playing with a score-first guard in Jamal, which has its benefits, but it's a nice change of pace to have a guy like Russ who's hunting for the pass. And as I mentioned earlier, thanks to his ability to anticipate openings and thread the needle, he's able to create a ton of easy opportunities. If the defense decides to put two on the ball, or maybe goes to a soft switch, Jokic will often slip, to which Russ can get him the ball just about every time. With that said, his best attribute in these spots is his ability to turn the corner and apply downhill pressure, where he can make the big commit before dropping it off to Joker. And this particular skill is especially effective next to Joker because of how automatic those touch shots are. No player is more dangerous than Jokic within 3 to 10 feet of the basket, and that's certainly reflected in the numbers, where he's made 61% of his opportunities over the past 4 seasons. That's layup type efficiency, and next to a guy like Russ who can consistently hit him in those spots, there's not much the defense can do. So what ends up happening is the opposing big has to make an impossible decision. On this one, you can see Capella start to pick up the ball, but as soon as Russ looks towards Jokic, Capella panics and gets back, leaving the lane wide open. Jokic's gravity on these rolls has led to the easiest driving lanes of Westbrook's career. This time Sabonis decides that he just isn't going to leave Jokic no matter what, giving up a wide open layup. And remember, when the starters are in the game, that means Aaron Gordon's typically going to be in the dunker spot. So if the big stays home on Jokic, then help comes from the baseline, Russ can lob it up top. This effect is even more noticeable whenever Jokic decides to pop off the screen. This guy is shooting 49% from 3, so again, all Russ has to do is look at him for a brief moment to create a driving lane to the rim. Jokic's gravity as an outside shooter really stands out in early offense. It's a pretty basic rule of thumb for defensive bigs to first drop back in transition, then scramble to cover shooters. But when Jokic is the trailer, that rule doesn't really apply, and so that's opened up a ton of things for Russ as a transition player. Here's an example where Tice doesn't drop to the paint because Jokic is trailing up top, and that leaves Russ with space to attack the middle of the floor on a drive. This time Jokic actually gets down court and spots up at the top of the key, where Donovan Clingan has to respect him as a threat, which again leaves Russ with space to attack the middle as he gets to the rim for 2. Help can't come from Jokic's man up top, and you definitely don't want Russ getting to the rim every time he crosses half court, so that means help has to come from elsewhere, to which he'll find the open man for high quality 3-pointers. In short, Russ has made a living this season on these early offense attacks, consistently touching the paint, collapsing the defense, and making the right decisions. And in general, I don't think he gets enough credit for the caliber of transition player he still is. He's a legitimate offensive engine in the open floor, where he's able to put pressure on the defense and create for the guys around him. So much so that everyone on the team, including Jokic, knows to get the ball to Russ whenever they have an opportunity to play with pace. Last season, the Nuggets were the 3rd slowest team in the NBA, taking an average of about 15 seconds per offensive possession. This season, they've played over an entire second faster and now rank 5th in the NBA at about 14 seconds per possession. That's a direct result of adding Russell Westbrook to your roster. Another area in which Russ makes a big impact is on the team's overall free throw volume. Not only does he get to the line at a decent rate himself, all of those tight window passes that result in dunks and layups also generate fouls. Last season, Denver was 25th in the NBA at about 20.5 free throw attempts every 75 possessions, and this season they're all the way up to 2nd, attempting 24.5. The most noticeable difference with Russ, though, has been the individual play of Jokic. He's having by far the best scoring season of his career, and it's not at all a coincidence. If we break up his season into the minutes he's played with and without Russ, this is what his numbers look like. With Russ, he's scoring 33 points every 75 possessions on 67.2% true shooting. Without Russ, he's scoring just under 26 points on 62.4% true shooting. That's a pretty stark difference. And not only has Russ elevated the Nuggets, they've elevated him. In year 17 at age 36, he's having one of the most efficient seasons of his career. Particularly when he's on the floor with Jokic, you can really see the impact. Those two have played over 500 minutes together, and during that time, Russ is shooting an impressive 67% on 2-pointers. For reference, his career high before this season came during his 1 year with Houston when he shot 51.4%. All of those easy driving lanes out of pick and roll and in early offense, those cuts off of Jokic post-ups, and maybe most importantly, a shift in his shot diet has led to really good results. During those minutes with Jokic, he's also averaging over 9 assists every 75 possessions and only 3 turnovers. That assist-to-turnover ratio would be by far the highest of his career. With all of that said though, the 3-point shooting has remained very poor, and it calls into question his off-ball viability when the entire team is healthy. He was brought in to be a 6th man, but because of injuries has ended up starting in 11 of their games. In those games, they've gone 9-2, and in the last 2 games against the Jazz and Hawks, he's played near flawless basketball. When push comes to shove though, and it's time to close out games in the half court, the 2-man game between Jamal and Jokic is still Denver's bread and butter, and it feels like they're still trying to figure out where Russ fits into all of that. There have been a few games where he's just simply been spotting up and expected to knock down shots, but that's when you'll see defenses put rim protectors on him and dare him to make them pay, to which he probably won't. However, I do think he's done a good job of taking advantage of inattentive defenders with his movement, finding soft spots in the defense as a cutter, and because he's still such an explosive slasher off the catch, when defenders leave him with too much space to attack, he can apply pressure with some more of those drives. To me, this aspect of his fit with the Nuggets is still a bit of a work in progress, but when it comes to literally anything else, it's been a home run by all means. Like I said, Russ and Joker have played over 500 minutes together, and in that time the Nuggets have produced a scorching 126.7 offensive rating. It gets even better when you start to include the other starters though. When it's Russ, Joker, and Jamal, that number is a ridiculous 133.6. When it's Russ, Joker, and MPJ, that number somehow gets even better, 134.1, and the four have only played 150 minutes, so this next number is more for fun, but I thought I should include the staggering 143.1. When you also account for the fact that Russ has been having one of the better defensive seasons of his career, I'm not sure you could have asked for a better fit. The ability to shift between roles in different actions, the high level passing, the way he runs pick and roll with Jokic and attacks in transition, there's a new duo in Denver, and the Nuggets have certainly reaped the benefits. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn my post notifications on to be first on more content. If you're interested in my more in-depth research, make sure to check out the Hoop Venue podcast and my social media profiles. You can find those links in the description. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you think of the Nuggets. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.